On our morning show today from WRCO, we're going to put the spotlight on Pine Valley Community Village. And joining us is Administrator Brittany Paulus and Director of Social Services Ryan Elliott here to talk about what is going on today. And Ryan, good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you, Phil. Thanks for having us. It's been a while. I think the last time is probably when Ron was still here.
So. I think so. Yeah, you were here often. It seems like you were here one other time, and I can't remember when it was. When some of the special functions you do, because you've got chicken barbecue that you do. You have the trick or treat thing that you do during the year as well.
Yeah, we try to involve the community as much as we can. We have a number of different events, in large part thanks to our foundation. So the Pine Valley Foundation is always beneficial and helpful to our facility. They do a lot of great things for us. Bed purchases, equipment purchases. It's really just a very involved and active committee, and so we always want to do as much as we can for them, and they generally need to raise money in a number of different ways, and so we try to do a number of events with them.
And I think it's important to open up the facility, for the community too, isn't it?
For sure, yeah. We're a community-based facility, obviously owned by the county board, and so we're always looking for opportunities to let the community know what we're doing out there. We're a 24/7 facility, so the community is always welcome to come and visit and see how things are going. We do tours. We have outpatient therapy. We just have a number of different services that people can take advantage of.
Well, Brittany, it's a prerequisite to tell us a little bit about yourself since it's the first visit. Where were you from originally?
I'm from Spring Green, Wisconsin. Been there for, 30 years now. Really enjoy the community there. It's not too far from here, so it just kind of made sense.
And in your previous life, you were a social worker, I understand?
I've actually done a little bit of everything. So I made sure to really get a good foundation of each department and what it takes to run a facility, and like what those departments entail federal and state regulated wise. So that when I did, sit and test for the boards for my nursing home administrator license, that I had a good foundation and a good knowledge base when entering into a role like this.
Had you worked in healthcare before you got this job at Pine Valley? Then?
Yes. I actually started working in healthcare when I was 14, not actually in a facility, but I did a lot of home care. I had a little diabetic lady that I would take care of at home when I was 14, outside of school, and just walking her dog and just being available. And that kind of set my course of life for me. So it was good. I've been in skilled nursing facilities since I was 18. Started as a CNA, went back to school, got my bachelor's in business administration, and then just kind of did various roles. I started out as a business office manager, HR, did the social worker piece, just really got into all the positions that take to run a building, so that I knew what each one required, so that I had that knowledge base and was capable of helping my fellow managers.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important. And you got to have a love for it, I think, don't you?
Yeah, healthcare is not for the faint-hearted. I think that, we put a lot of our time and effort and our emotional states, get, tested throughout your entire career in healthcare. It's a very rewarding position. It's a very rewarding job to work in healthcare, but it doesn't come without, those heavy times.
There are challenges, yeah. And I'm sure you get pretty close to the people that you take care of too, don't you?
Yeah, when you enter into healthcare, even as a caregiver, they tell you not to get attached. I don't know if anybody else can sit there and say that they don't get attached. It's just something that just comes with the position. And you do have your favorites. You do have some residents that really challenge you. But at the end of the day, as long as you've made somebody's day or you've been there to help, I think it's a very rewarding opportunity.
And how long have you been on the job?
I've been with Pine Valley since March.
Okay. So it's gone pretty well so far?
I think so. I think that we have a great group of management team, a great group of nursing staff, and everybody just really knows what their requirements are and what they're supposed to be doing. So it does help that, coming into a position, people know what they're supposed to be doing and they're great at it.
Talking about staffing, that's probably a challenge, isn't it?
COVID was where the challenge began. And agencies began, and then people wanted to make more money, so staffing became harder in facilities to have facility-based staff, because people could make more money, they could travel, they could, do all that. So I think that kind of really led to where we're at now, and the more staffing needs, the less that colleges are able to put out. The demand is far ahead versus what we are able to get year by year.
Let's talk about, you've got some young people that come in and they get their licenses early and they're helping out. And how much of a blessing is that?
That is huge. The great thing is we bring a lot of the staff in who are 16 and able to go to school to become a CNA. We bring them as RAs, which is a resident assistant, and we provide them the on-the-job training, taking care of patients and being in the patient area, so they're exposed to that kind of environment. So when they do go to the class for the CNA, that they're prepared. They know what it looks like, and they know what they're getting into before, they take their testing. So we actually send and we pay for the course, and we kind of grow our own CNAs, and it's fantastic.
Do you have several helping you right now?
We do. We have quite a few CNAs that we just put through course. We had one CNA one person we just recently put through the course. So it's a huge help to be able to grow our own CNAs. I wish we could do that with RNs and LPNs, but we are growing our own med techs, which kind of help alleviate the strain of passing medications for our nursing staff. But we definitely need, your RNs and LPNs, and we always need staff.
Ryan, let's talk a little bit about, you want to talk about emotional transition to the nursing home and what that entails.
I think the important topic is that obviously people, when going to the nursing home, I mean, that's a tough transition. For the most part, people don't really want to go to the nursing home if they can avoid it. Everybody wants to stay at home, and that's completely understandable. Everybody in this room and everybody probably listening wants to be in their own home for as long as they can. But at some point, there's at least a discussion about, what's the benefits of being at home versus what's the risks. And so at that point in time, discussions need to be had about, what it's going to look like to go to the facility. Some people come from home, some people come from nursing home, or some people come from hospitals, some people come from other nursing homes. Some people are living maybe in like adult family homes or assisted livings, and then their condition progresses to the point that they just can't be sustained there anymore. And so then they make a transition to the nursing home. So we take admissions from a variety of different sources, a variety of different walks of life come through our door. And all of them need an adjustment to living in a facility such as ours or any other nursing home in the community. So I think the important thing is to know that staff at Pine Valley are there to help with that transition. There's no great tip or advice that I can give you that will make it go as absolutely smooth. Everybody kind of transitions into a facility a little bit different, but things to know is that the staff are there 24/7. Nobody sleeps. Everybody's there to be able to help, and we are a community-based facility, and so a lot of friends and neighbors or people that you maybe had contact with in the past and kind of lost touch with may very well be in the facility. We have lots of activities. We have a bunch of therapy. Nurses are there to help not only deal with the emotional aspect of transitioning into a building such as ours, but also to deal with physical contributes like pain management and diabetic issues or whatever maybe brought you into that facility. So it's a tough emotional transition, but we're just there to help offer a hand. People can personalize their rooms. Sometimes that can be quite helpful. People are able to bring in a number of things from home. Pets can visit, so that's a big thing. It's a country style facility, and so we definitely embrace that. We embrace the community that's around us, which is farming based, and definitely has its roots in that. And so animals are welcome in there. We've had goats, and I think we've had llamas, and the donkeys come and visit. And so trying to do things like that make it seem more home-like, if you will, as opposed to facility.
Are there still stigmas surrounding, being there and being a resident or being a temporary resident?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've been there for a little over 25 years now, and there's just always been a stigma that's kind of followed along. I mean, Pine Valley has a long history, started as I suppose you could call it the poor farm, or a place where people went that didn't have any place else to go, almost like a homeless shelter, I suppose, or people that had mental health challenges ended up there. And so that stigma seems to have stuck with Pine Valley. It seems to have improved, and you don't hear people call it Pine Valley Manor like they used to when I first started. But I think the idea of having to go live somewhere besides home is always tough. And so inevitably, any nursing home probably carries some type of stigma with them.
You have a lot of people, though, in transition, post-surgery, and, maybe a fall, they're going to get back on their feet, and the whole goal is to go home. And a lot of people do that, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. So we take people from the hospital all the time, maybe even rehab centers. A trending thing is for people to have maybe an outpatient surgery, and then as opposed to having 3-4 nights in the hospital, they make a quick transition to the nursing home. And so we serve long-term, but we also serve short-term. We focus on rehab. So people that have had strokes or hip replacements or knee replacements or heart attacks or are in need of wound care, or maybe they had some type of cardiac procedure, valve replacement, any number of people. So we're there to not only help people that need to be somewhere 24 hours a day for possibly the rest of their life, to helping those people that just need short-term rehab to get back on their feet, to get moving better, and to be home safely. And I think that that's an important thing to keep in mind, is that nursing homes are not forever.
And people are staying in their homes longer than they used to, aren't they?
They are, for a number of reasons. A, because they want to, but B, financial reasons. I mean, healthcare is expensive. There's no two ways around that. And so people have definitely a strong desire to be able to stay in their own home. And there's more services out there to help them do that. So you have home health, you have different types of services going in, different technologies. Probably AI is going to help people stay in their own homes longer, with maybe opportunities for better medication management, better reminders and cues to be able to do this or do that. You have different types of pendants and bracelets that people can wear in case they have a fall, so they're not laying on the floor forever. Just lots of opportunities to be able to help people stay in their home longer. But when they get to a point where it seems like that's not safe, then we're there to help them out.
Could you talk about the role of a social worker?
Yeah, the role of social worker is pretty broad in general, and definitely broad in our facility. I would say we don't stay in our lanes terribly well. We kind of branch out into a variety of different things. If things need to be moved, which maybe you would think of maintenance, that's something that we might do. If discussions need to be had about CPR or some type of medical complexity, within reason, social services might do that. We definitely are there as a mediator when it comes to someone new coming into the facility that maybe hasn't been in healthcare before. We talk them through what's the admission process like, how do the finances play, what's going to pay for you to be there, how will therapy work with you, what are the things that people want to focus on while they're there. And we act as point people. So if someone has a concern or a question, they can come to us, and then we can reach out to the departments that need to be involved in that. So I would say probably the biggest thing is we're working as mediators and point people. We also do a good deal of work in like discharge planning, talking about what's going to be the best opportunity for you when you go home. If you aren't able to go home, what are the other resources out there? If you need services in your home, or if you need to add some type of equipment, how do we get that? So really just lots of resource discussion, benefit discussion, and then we link them to different opportunities in the community if they do go home, like the ADRC, home health, which I mentioned before, maybe rehab at the hospital if there's something up there they're doing that we can't do at Pine Valley, different things like that.
So do you do actual home visits where you go in and take a look at somebody's home, or do you leave that for ADRC?
So as a social worker, we would only go into someone's home if we were doing an assessment to determine if they would be able to come to Pine Valley. Generally, that's really the only reason that we're going in. Options counseling is usually left to the ADRC, where they go in and they talk to them about finances. We might do that as part of our assessment process when we're looking at if we're going to take somebody, but the therapy department does what's called home safety evaluations, where someone's been rehabbing at Pine Valley. It's looking like they might be able to go home. We kind of want to see what the home environment looks like. They probably want to see how they're going to do in the home environment. And so then we have our therapy department go out to a person's home and evaluate how they'll do in there. We don't really care per se what the home looks like aesthetically. We're there to see how can they function there safely. What were they doing before when things were going well? And what does it look like now, and how can we get back to the baseline where things were going well? So we might make recommendations for grab bars, or make recommendations for increasing the height of the toilet, or maybe adding home health services. Or unfortunately, sometimes we have to have hard conversations where we recommend 24-hour care. We obviously can't make people do anything they don't want to do, but we can make recommendations, educated recommendations.
Do you, Brittany, get the rehab kind of focused on maybe somebody trying to go home, some things that they're going to need to do, like going up steps and things like that?
Yeah, our therapy department really focuses when they come in, and so do our social workers. They talk about a social history. They talk about what their home environment looks like. Do they have steps? Do they have, certain obstacles in their home that says, okay, well, we need to work on this because I need to be able to do this when I get home. I have a dog, I have to walk them. I have, grandchildren that I love to be able to pick up. Those sorts of things that we take into consideration when we do that rehab. And is it going to be safe for them to go home, like Ryan had said? But they really focus, okay, well, you have 3 steps, so we're going to focus on 3 steps and see if we can't, increase that to 5 steps because, out in the public, when they're walking around, well, they have to do 5 steps. So we really take a look at what their needs are, what their home environment looks like, and what they see their life looking like when they leave, so that we can ensure therapy is kind of wrapped around what they see and what they want, what their future is going to look like.
Do you be kind of the mediator too? Ryan had mentioned that between the family and the patient and things like that.
Yeah, sometimes, we have, or they have really big goals about being able to go home, or maybe, something isn't going exactly how they want it. So a lot of things that Ryan and Jen, which is the other social worker, or even myself, or the director of nursing, all of us kind of play a role into, okay, how do we smooth situations, or how do we have those conversations with the family? Like, is it really appropriate for them to go home? Or, is it appropriate for them to be here anymore? So we have guidelines that we have to follow, that if they aren't appropriate for a skilled nursing facility, and what that looks like, can we technically bill their insurance for this? And just having those conversations. Sometimes they're hard. Sometimes, the families are truly understanding, or, like Ryan said, it's a lot of education.
You have a lot of fun activities there as well. We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we return with the morning show. Also, road construction is going to be improving. We're going to talk about that as well when the morning show continues. We're on the subject of Pine Valley Community Village today. Brittany Paulus and Ryan Elliott are in the studio with us. Ryan, the construction continues there. Can you give us an update on the County O project there?
I can give you a little bit of an update. So it's definitely ongoing. They had some challenges with fiber optics and how they lay, and the telecommunications. So they've been kind of sorting out how best to deal with the earthwork associated with that. And so it would seem as though they're a little bit behind schedule, unfortunately, but working hard to try to catch up. So at the present time, you can access Pine Valley by going down south on Highway O. You definitely need to watch out for all the construction equipment. The road is technically closed, so if you're trying to pass through past our facility, I would say that's probably not a great idea unless you live down there. But otherwise, getting to us, you can go down there. You're going to have to drive on gravel. You're going to have to watch out for heavy equipment. Otherwise, you can take Highway RC around past the old radio station and the school and stuff like that, and come in that direction, and you would stay on pavement for the most part. So it sounds like within a short period of time they'll be doing a little bit more work. They're in front of our building, and they are headed north towards Equity and Walmart, and so it'll be a little bit of a uncertainty as to exactly how that'll play out. But they have to give us access. We're a 24/7 facility. We have fragile individuals there, so there'll always be some access to our facility in different capacities, I guess.
What does that do for you then? Are you getting fiber optics and things like that? Is that changing anything for the facility?
I don't know that it's changing anything like that for us. I think what it is it's giving us a better road base. It's giving us wider lanes. I think they're supposed to be like 12 feet with heavier shoulders or bigger shoulders, I believe is what I heard. So, but yeah, technology-wise, I don't think it's doing anything that I'm aware of, unless Brittany has more to say to that. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'll be good to get that done eventually then.
For sure, yeah. We would be happy to get that done. But I guess just to be aware, you can still get to Pine Valley, and that won't change.
Brittany, we talked a little bit about paying for nursing home care. That's kind of the million-dollar question, so to speak, isn't it?
Yes. Well, there's several ways you can pay for it. We have the option for private pay, which is, private funds where you're paying for the funds up front. We talked about short-term placement where you're getting rehab, and Medicare pays for that. So Medicare says, okay, you had your qualifying 3-day stay at the hospital, so we're going to go ahead and pick up the bill for you to rehab and get back home. And supplemental insurance will also piggyback on Medicare and pay that co-insurance, that daily co-insurance that we have. And I think that's $195 per day is that co-insurance currently. And then we have Medicaid. Medicaid is a huge income source for us, for patients who are on long-term care, who are there for a significant amount of time with us, and that pays for their stay for as long as they need it. And we have to continue with the eligibility. There's also long-term care insurances that back in the day a lot of people selected, that actually pays for your nursing home stay, and that's paid by you write a check that says this is how much it is, and then we submit the invoice to your long-term care insurance, and then they ask for what is this current residence level at? Can they walk? Can they do things for themselves? Those sorts of things, so that they can be reimbursed directly to their checking account or their bank account. So there's several ways.
Do people still have the long-term health care? Is that something that's more of a thing from the past?
I think it's more of a, it depends on where you're at. A lot of it's more in the past. They don't offer those as often or in many places to have that long-term care insurance. I don't see it being offered many places, if any. And I think it's just because, nursing homes are more, it's kind of a normal at this point, where it wasn't something back, 20, 30 years ago. It wasn't something that was consistent. So I guess it really depends on, is there a location that's offering it, but it's not common.
Has anything changed in terms of out-of-pocket and how much money you can have in your banking account and those kind of things?
The requirements right now for Medicaid has remained the same. So there's lots of allocation opportunities. So if you have a spouse that's living on the outside, a lot of your income, your Social Security can be allocated to paying for bills there. As in terms to what you can have, most of the places, if you don't own a home, you don't have assets, you don't have things like that, there is a significant income limit, and that's usually about $2,000. That means you can plan by, let's say you have a whole life insurance policy, you can irrevocably assign it to a funeral home so it can pay for your cares there in the event of death. If you have too much money, you can allocate it to, your medical stuff. But essentially, yes, there are income limits for spousal, and if you're married and you have a spouse living, you can have a $50,000 asset limit plus owning a home and a car. So there's really a lot of things that might change, come 2027, eligibility, things like that with the big beautiful bill. But right now, nothing's changed.
If you need help with that too, sometimes that can be a daunting thing. Do you have people on staff that can help people and give them the right direction then?
Absolutely. Like I said, our social workers are, pretty much, they play the role of everything in the building. But we also have the ADRC. They do a really good job of helping people get applied for it, getting the documentation that Medicaid needs, and really helping them with the process and pretty much doing everything. Our social workers can help as well. So we have lots of resources available.
Ryan, we want to talk a little bit about advanced care planning. In fact, we've had ADRC on this week talking about POA for healthcare. But any update that you wanted to give today on that?
No, I think just a general FYI for the community that it's important to think about your advanced care planning. You know, nobody ever wants to think about the idea that their health is going to change and that they need someone to maybe step in and help them advocate for themselves or make decisions or maybe even be their voice. But unfortunately, we all go through health events in our life at some point in time, and so it's important to have some documentation down to be able to enable somebody to act on your behalf if you couldn't. And so I think a couple of key points. Advanced care planning is this big umbrella term, if you will, that essentially means that you're going to have an ongoing and fluid conversation, hopefully, with your loved ones to be able to have a way of being able to communicate what your wishes and desires are if you ever get to the point where you can't do it for yourself, be it because it's an accident or maybe it's some type of health event, you end up in the hospital, you're in a coma, you can't speak for yourself. If you don't have anything in place, it makes caring for you that much harder, not only for the doctors and nurses that are working with you at the hospital, but for your family, because nobody really knows. Do you want this? Do you not want that? So having those hard conversations when things are going well and you're not in strife or chaos like you sometimes are when you're in a hospital with a crisis, that's the best time to have those conversations. And there's a number of different resources out there, as you mentioned. So the ADRC has great information. The state of Wisconsin has wonderful information on power of attorneys for healthcare, and they also offer information on power of attorneys for finance. The state of Wisconsin has a number of resource websites. Richland Hospital has a great resource, and I do some volunteer work at the hospital regarding advanced care planning and advanced directives. And then, of course, they can call the facilities. Pine Valley, Schmidt-Woodland Hills have social workers that can speak to people about how to create and how to document advanced care planning. Most people know advanced care planning as like power of attorney for healthcare. I mean, that's what really is out there, POAs. And so power of attorneys for healthcare are wonderful tools because A, they allow you to have a safety net in place if anything ever happens. And B, they nominate somebody, unlike like a living will, they nominate someone to carry out what your wishes are. But the big thing is to let that person know that you would like them to be your POA and make sure they're on board with it. Make sure that they can do what it is that you want them to do. And then lastly, just to be aware, it's voluntary and it's not something that's required, but it sure is helpful if something happens.
So if you have the document filled out, where should you file it? I mean, if you're planning on maybe being a resident at Pine Valley Community Village, should you have it there and have it at the hospital with your doctor as well?
Yeah, file it in any place that you're going to receive care. So if you end up at the facility like Pine Valley or Schmidt, then you definitely want a copy there. And then wherever you doctor, be it that it's Richland Hospital or maybe you see specialists at UW or Mayo or Gunderson, make sure it's on file there. Also make sure that if you update it, which you should, that you keep the most current copy at the facilities that you're going to. Because if someone has an old copy that doesn't speak to where you are at this point in life, and you have a new copy that does, that can be really conflicting for doctors, especially if it's an emergent situation, and especially if it was significant changes, like you wanted CPR when you were younger and you don't want CPR now.
The thing that we kind of impressed on people or tried to this week is the fact that it's not just an older Americans thing. I mean, we all should be looking at these things, right?
Anyone over the age of 18 should have one. You never know what's going to happen, and not to sound morbid, but anytime you step out onto the street or step out of your house, anything can happen, or even in your house, you can have a medical event. So always having some type of documentation so that you have the knowledge and the comfort in knowing that somebody's going to be there to take care of you if you can't speak for yourself, it's invaluable.
Richland County and Pine Valley Community Village and that relationship. We haven't talked about that for a while, but Pine Valley being owned by the county, is that kind of a unique situation, Brittany?
I don't really think it's necessarily unique. I think the biggest thing is yes, the county owns Pine Valley, but we do a lot of everything out there on our own. So we we do all the necessary cares. We do the purchasing. We do making sure we have everything that we need out there. If we have to implement something new, something expensive, then we would go to the county board and get that approval. Yes, I do answer to the county administrator when it comes to, if we need to implement something or if something needs to happen. That is something I discuss with Trish over there. And then, we are pretty much self-sufficient out here and able to manage most of everything out here on our own.
You're your own entity then, owned by the county then is how it works.
Correct.
Yeah. Recently there was a question, I know we had some of the county board members on too, about water and the well. Has that been rectified or changed at the Pine Valley Community Village?
Yes. So we ended up having a new inspection completed on our reservoir, and it found out that there's really nothing that needs to be done, just a few small things. So essentially, instead of, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to change our water source or to do anything, we're actually saving a significant amount of money being able to keep our current reservoir.
You talked earlier about customizing your room. That's kind of interesting. Ryan, are there some unique rooms at Pine Valley Community Village?
Yeah, I think people, like in their own homes, have made Pine Valley their home, which is wonderful. So they've added a lot of unique touches. Sometimes it's furniture items, sometimes it's wall hangings, sometimes it's a combination of all the above. So, I think we really, within reason, want to see people personalize their room. Nursing homes are pretty heavily regulated when it comes to environmental safety, physical safety, and so things that are causing tripping hazards, anything with a heating element, for the most part, we can't really have that stuff in the room. So those blankets that warm up, the heated blankets, we have a variation of that we can offer, but you can't have an electric blanket in your room. You can't have that Keurig coffee maker for the most part. But we have substitutes to that. But yeah, we definitely want to make people aware that they can customize a room, make it feel like it would if they were at home.
There are some people, and everybody's different. Some people that they're making plans, and I'm going to move in, this kind of date. There are others that maybe fight it as long as they can, right?
Yeah, and I think you get any number of people like that. Some people have told their loved ones for a long time that they want to go to Pine Valley, and then the time comes and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to go. And other people are like, well, it'll be okay, and they get to see a lot of friends and family that maybe they hadn't seen for a while. And I think people are surprised sometimes about how beneficial a social atmosphere like Pine Valley can be when it comes to mental health. And that's another key component to social services is providing that mental health, that emotional support. We do quite a bit of discussions about how to best serve people physically, but also we focus on the emotional aspect of it. And that circles back to when you come into Pine Valley, personalizing your room can definitely add some emotional well-being, but also just trying to get engaged in the community life that is Pine Valley is helpful.
My goodness, going over the list of activities, there are a number of things. I think every day there's something different going on.
Yeah, Mallory Winchell is a wonderful activity director, and she has a wonderful staff, and they just offer all kinds of different things. Maybe it's van rides this time of year out to the orchards, or going out to check out the highway project where they did the bridge down in Lone Rock, or maybe it's just going back to people's stomping grounds on Chicken Ridge or wherever it might be. In addition to that, all kinds of musical events, religious church-based services, service groups come out there. We have a pretty active game opportunities, traditional things like bingo, but more interesting things, maybe kickball, exercise-based philosophy is been really a strong push in the last few years. So yeah, lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun, including the Safe Trick or Treat coming up this year.
Safe Trick or Treat's been around for quite a while now.
Yeah, and what do you normally do with the Safe Trick or Treat? What are some highlights?
Well, so when it first started, we would do everything internally, but then COVID came and that changed, life in general. And so I think we skipped it for a couple of years, and then we most recently have been doing kind of a hybrid version of it. So we do Safe Trick or Treat outside. Last year, I think we were inside and outside. So this year, we're in the planning phases right now. So for those businesses that have supported us in the past, it definitely is a donation-based service that we offer. We solicit or we ask for donations to help out Safe Trick or Treat, and then we have stations where kids can come and trick or treat at each of the individual stations, 20, 30 stations. And then it's a safe environment, it's a controlled environment. It's a wonderful opportunity for the community to know that they're going someplace. They don't have to worry about whatever it is that they're going to be getting, because we buy everything. We don't take donations in the sense of candy or whatever. We take donations monetarily, and then we go out and purchase the different items. And we do look at both candy, but then we also try to provide healthy alternatives and sometimes toys and other things like that. So we really try to make it widespread when it comes to the different things that you might get there. And it will most likely be the weekend before Halloween. I think the 25th, but again, we're in the planning phases, so look for donation letters, look for updates on our website, on Facebook, and then we'll maybe do another update on the radio.
Brittany, are there some volunteer opportunities? In what areas could people help out at Pine Valley?
Absolutely. We always love the opportunity for volunteers. I mean, we have even, our subcommittee member, Pat, who comes out and volunteers and answers phones for us. But they can definitely come out and help with activities. We always love that. Or they can volunteer their time to do an activity, whether that be playing music or just kind of creating a fun environment for our residents. There is an application process for that as well. We just have to make sure that our residents are safe 100% of the time. And there is, an application, and we do have to do background checks, and we do have to do all those things to ensure the safety of our residents.
Taking over, and you're still relatively new, do you have goals set? Or are there some things that you'd like to see in the next few years?
Yeah, we have been increasing our census, which has been a huge opportunity to offer more services to the residents. We have our assisted living side that we want to, keep in mind and keep going. As for future projects, that's still to be determined. This is a fairly new building. So building-wise, there's not really an opportunity to continue to build at this time, but maybe in the future to, with the need of nursing care, to potentially do something like that. But essentially just kind of seeing what the facility needs and see the kind of responses, in our surrounding areas that have been working well, and maybe working towards implementing some of those things. But right now it's just trying to get a feel for the building, feel for the people that we work with, and just kind of see where everybody, because it is a unanimous decision between, the management team, because I don't want to sit there and say, let's do this, and it not work, or, it takes too much time away from the management team. But being able to utilize and, come together as an entire management team to figure out our future.
And no one knows the future, obviously, and in healthcare, things change rapidly, don't they?
Yes, it's ever changing. The regulations are always changing. We have the big, beautiful bill coming up. So there's lots of changes that could potentially be made, whether it be for the good or for the bad. The future's super unknown, and I wish we all had crystal balls to be able to see what, is coming. But unfortunately, we just have to play those things day by day and hope that we can do the best for the community.
And Ryan, my goodness, 25 years, did you say that you've been with Pine Valley?
26.
26, my goodness. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously been a job that's been very satisfying for you.
Yeah, I've always had in my mind that if I get up in the morning and feel like I can go into work and generally have a pretty good attitude about it, then it's something that I would continue to do. I've had some jobs where I just didn't really want to go, and I've never really felt that for the most part at Pine Valley. So, yeah, I've been very blessed when it comes to the team that I've gotten to work with. I mean, obviously we've had some rocky roads, and it seems like we're on the upside of that.
It seems like it. Have you got your room picked out then yet, or not?
No.
Not yet.
No.
That's not obvious.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you guys in here. Come back again and keep us updated on the Safe Trick or Treat as well.
Thanks, Phil. We always appreciate WRCO's support. I know you guys are helping us out with Safe Trick or Treat, so we always appreciate all that you guys do.
No problem. Ryan Elliott, social worker, and Brittany Paulus, administrator with Pine Valley Community Village in this portion of the morning show.